Aaron Gray. My God.
In the morning.
In the morning to you too. How you doing, Gene?
Oh, man. I haven't slept in like 48 hours.
I saw you were posting at like 3 a.m. and I knew today was going to be a bad show because Gene's going to be like, we're just going to, if there's like 18 minutes of silence at any point, that's just if Gene falls asleep and I decide to give him a little nap. What's been going on? A lot of things going on in your world?
Well, I don't know, man. I think there's a lot of things going on in everybody's world right now.
It is always a crazy world. This is kind of times 10ing it for one particular short period of time.
Yeah.
And you start making the big questions. And that, I mean, your social media is such a cancer. I agree with what the governor of Utah just said a few minutes ago, which is human beings are not meant to watch this kind of stuff unfolding 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I heard Jillian Michaels talking about how her kids were fans of Charlie Kirk, but how her kids became political because of social media. And it's like, yeah, you think back to it when we were growing up, kids weren't political. Overall.
It depends what age, man.
Well, before
not a 5-year-old, for sure.
I mean, before college, most people were not even thinking about politics. You were looking to get laid.
I was writing theses on libertarianism way before college.
Well, this is why you weren't getting laid.
Mm-hmm.
Gene's like, I am thinking Marxism all the way, but which one gets more pussy?
Mm-hmm.
But overall, a majority of the population, especially kids, we're not politicized. Most, even at that point, if your parents paid attention to the news, it was probably you got a newspaper in the morning and they read it over coffee, and maybe they watched the 10 o'clock news at night. So a grand total of maybe an hour a day was put into news coverage.
Yeah.
Where now it's nonstop, man. And it's addictive. It's probably why you haven't slept, because all of a sudden it's like, well, all this news is coming in. It's coming in nonstop.
It's nonstop, but there are plenty of people that just don't know. There are people that don't even know who the hell Charlie Kirk was.
I fully understand that. I mean, I knew who he was, but I never paid attention, never tuned in for any of his stuff. It's like I knew that he was the guy that was going out and having talks on colleges. I knew that much, but I didn't really partake because there's only so much time in the day.
Well, see, not much has changed. You didn't follow politics when you were young. Still don't follow it.
Exactly. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to follow it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because that's not healthy.
You hear that, Adam Curry?
Yes. Adam Curry will tell you it's not healthy to follow this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's going to be an interesting story only because it's going to affect how people feel about this. Scott Adams went live right as the news was breaking that Charlie Kirk had been shot. And he made the point, he's like, I'm not doing this to cover this. He's like, I'm doing this because I think there's a lot of people who are going to need a place to talk about this, who maybe none of your friends know who Charlie Kirk is, that you feel like, you know, you can't talk to anybody else. So he's like, that's what I'm doing this for. And it was a very interesting point, I think, to make, which is we are very fragmented, even within our small groups that you don't necessarily know anybody in real life. I mean, how many people that are listening to this show can go, well, yeah, I know like 5 other friends that listen to Unrelenting. I mean, they probably aren't 5 other people listening to Unrelenting, but
yeah,
it is so the odds are really bad on that one. You know, but even bigger shows like No Agenda or Joe Rogan. There are people that are like, hey, I listen to Rogan every day, but none of my friends do. So who am I going to talk to about this?
Mm-hmm.
And it is
I suggest people get new friends. That's a much better approach because your friends are morons if they don't know who Charlie Kirk is.
Yeah, get some real life friends, not just on the, I mean, I thought it was interesting that they mentioned on Fox News. I mean, always on top of the tech stuff. This guy was talking to people on Discord, which is a website that, like, well, I mean, yeah, discord.com is technically a website, but
yeah,
not sure they quite understand still how the interactivity goes. And the other point that Scott Adams made was, somebody's like, well, what are you feeling? And he's like, well, I'm sad. He's like, but I'm not going to really know until a motive on why this person did it. If I should, am I going to be angry, or am
Scott
I just?
Adams is a moron, dude. Seriously, he's a moron. I don't know why anybody would listen to this guy or watches him. He draws cartoons. He doesn't even come up with ideas. He talked about this like 20 years ago. He was a project manager, very tangential to technology, and he made a cartoon about a tech guy, not him. And then people started sending him in ideas after his second book came out. And he said he had a box of ideas for these cartoons so that he never has to come up with situations again.
You're just mad so you don't have the box. 20 years ago
this happened. So
you don't have a
why
box,
he
so
rose
that's why
to
you're
prominence
mad.
The way he did, I completely don't understand. Like, this is not some great artist here. This is a cartoon dude who was in middle management.
Okay. I think the point is there, though, that people are going to react differently if it was like the guy with the Ukrainian woman who is obviously batshit crazy, voices in his head, schizophrenic. I mean, shouldn't have been out on the streets because, thank you, liberal judges who saw the guy 14 times and went, you're fine. But I think people have a different reaction if that's the killer, as opposed to, and from what it appears, from what has come out very early on with this 22-year-old that they believe is the assassin. Super high ACT scores, allegedly a well-adjusted individual who has been radicalized. I think people have a different reaction. It's kind of like, if your family gets killed in a very weird highway accident, not drunk driving, anything like that. Yeah, you're really sad. You mourn them, but there isn't one thing that you can really blame. Whereas if it is somebody went out and did this intentionally.
Dude, it's murder. How is it not intentional? There's no such thing as unintentional murder.
Right, but the reason is, again,
the reason doesn't matter. Somebody actively murdered another person. They had a desire to do that. What do you care what the reason was?
You don't think it's any difference whether somebody is completely whacked out and schizophrenic and a otherwise rational person who decided to do this, knowing what they were doing? You don't think there's any difference at all in how somebody's reaction would be depending on those things?
No.
Okay.
How many murderers do you think made a mistake and didn't mean to murder somebody? Not somebody driving a car and crashing it, accidentally because the light changed and they didn't notice the light changed or something. But actual murderers. Somebody that picked a target and took that person's life.
Happens every day in Chicago, I'm sure.
And you think some of these people are not murderers in Chicago?
No, that's not really the question. Again,
okay.
It is the reason for it happening, which is if your family dies in a plane crash and it turns out some part failed, you don't have any emotional difference as if somebody intentionally blew up that plane. It's the same either way for you.
You're mischaracterizing what I just said for some reason.
No, well, I'm asking because I asked the question and that's what I heard you saying back. Like, well,
you're
it's always murder.
mischaracterizing my answer. I didn't say that murder is equivalent to an accident. I said murder is intentional by design. This was an intentional act by a person who managed to disappear into thin air after it happened.
Well, they really didn't disappear into thin air. It seems like they had him on a lot of video.
Because nobody knows who it is.
What do you mean nobody knows who it is?
I mean, we don't have the murderer.
We do have the murderer.
Where?
They apprehended him at 10 o'clock local time last night.
Okay, this is the right guy because they've had 3 different people that they have said are people of interest.
Yes. They have the guy who was turned in, sounds like by his father. It sounds like the family figured it out. This is
interesting because at 3 a.m. they just upped the reward at the FBI.
I think you might be on Ambien or something because
no. I was wide awake until like 4:30 this morning.
They had a press conference like an hour ago with all of the information.
Well, an hour ago I was asleep. I'll give you that.
Okay. Well, they got the guy, 22-year-old, high ACT score, seemingly well-adjusted individual, changed his clothes while on the roof. They had multiple videos, I guess, of him climbing down or jumping off the roof, running through neighborhoods. He was not from the area. He was not at that school, was not a student there.
According to Grok, the FBI has not captured the individual responsible for the shooting.
Well, go to any rational news site, then get your news in a better place is all I can suggest. Because otherwise, I don't know how to have
Utah governor confirmed the arrest of a suspect in southern Utah.
Yeah.
FBI has not had a press conference.
Cash Patel was at the press conference.
Somebody.
Yeah. Cash
all
Patel
they're saying is people of interest.
No.
Okay. So this is the guy. You're done.
I mean, I'm sure they're going to continue running down any lead they can to see if there was anyone else involved, including the hippie-looking guy who was on video immediately celebrating, which was a little bit bizarre. And of course, they want to know, the question that was asked immediately before was about gun violence, of course. So the question will then be, was that a part of this? Was the person part of was there a setup? Was this just coincidental? So I'm sure they're going to continue running down stuff. But I would say that it seems, unless this is just an op, Donald Trump was on Fox and Friends this morning, and he said they believe that this is the guy. That family member figured it out, and through a minister, contacted law enforcement, and they turned him in.
Okay. Well, hopefully that's the case.
It would be good. I mean,
I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm saying that there have been multiple people that have been called suspects and people of interest.
Now, of course, the original old dude obviously did not look anything like the video that they came out with of the guy going up onto the roof.
Yeah.
This guy is the spitting image. Yes, this guy is definitely the spitting image of that now.
Okay. And he's got a sprained ankle, presumably.
I would guess. I don't know. But, if your family...
The video shows a guy limping after jumping down what looked like probably 14 feet.
I would figure that if your family's turning you in, there's probably some evidence. Unless your family hates you. I don't know, I guess. Anything can happen in the insanity that we have going on. But it's a moment in time it's going to be interesting to see the reaction. Because again, social media is one place to get the temperature on this. And of course, immediately, rightfully so, people like James Woods, like, hey, you want a fucking war? You got a fucking war. I don't know exactly what that means. I mean, I can guess what that means is that open season on people that think the other way, because I don't know how else you would interpret that. I understand the sentiment, Now, the question will be, does this get the people that are otherwise rational? And I don't know what percentage that is. I mean, if you want to make a guess, like what percentage of people in this country are so irrational, they would get so involved, so mentally tied up in this, where they would think this is a valid thing to do to take out the enemy.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm looking at the timeline. This all happened an hour and a half ago.
Yeah, within 33 hours, they had the guy, man. And he said 33 hours, but
Right, he said 10 o'clock last night.
Yeah.
But it looks like it happened an hour and a half ago.
Well, the news coverage, that's what I said, yeah. I mean, see, I wasn't up at 3, so I was up this morning at 7 getting the latest and greatest.
Yeah. So 1 hour, 21 minutes ago, suspect in Charlie Kirk shooting was identified.
Which I will point out was different than at least one other person pointed to via social media last night. This is also a very dangerous thing.
Yeah.
I'm
looking at the timeline like 2.5 hours ago, they're still guessing.
Well, they had the guy at 10. So who was, I mean, again, if you're talking about people online, well, they're going to continue guessing.
Well, apparently he confessed 2 hours, 20 minutes ago.
So they brought him in last night at 10, and then he did, in fact, confess, which I guess if there is a confession.
Yeah.
Is that a good thing?
That to me kind of says, okay, then it is the guy.
You don't think anybody would lie about a confession? I mean, I'm just going to, I agree with you. I think this is the guy. One, if family turned him in and then he confessed.
Yeah.
I would agree. Although we've heard very weird conspiracy theories about a wide variety of things. So.
Yeah. Well, I think he went from person of interest to suspect.
It is. Yeah.
Because at least the language in what the stories are reporting from an hour and a half ago versus like 2.5, 3 hours ago, he goes from person of interest to suspect.
He takes some pills here. It's always good to take some pills during Unrelenting.
Yeah.
When you're talking to Gene, take your blood pressure medication, kids.
Oh, yeah. If it's under 200, you're not doing it right.
If it's not breaking the machine, if it's not going into the, if it's one of those electronic ones, if it's not turning red.
So this is actually interesting because I talked about this obviously on my other podcast with Dude Named Ben.
Yeah. See, that's not a good show. This is a good show.
Yeah. Not what the donations say. But anyway, we both were definitely fans of Charlie. I probably watch Charlie five times a week. And, I think Ben was not quite that much, but still fairly similar. Videos of Charlie Kirk prior to his murder, they were generally in the fairly, the quick category, the sort of videos that end up on X or on YouTube Shorts, little clips of somebody asking questions and providing answers. And maybe not convincing that person, but maybe somebody in the audience having watched that interaction will think twice about the radicalization that they're getting in college. So I think he was an extremely positive force in the world in that regard.
Well, yeah, he would talk to everybody. I mean, this wasn't a...
Yeah.
And the people that are on... And there's less of them than expected on the leftist mainstream media that are saying bad things about him. Now, there are still some insane people.
Right. Thank God.
Well, the guy on MSNBC who actually had the fucking balls to be like, well, this might have just been one of his, fans shooting off a gun in celebration. Yeah. It's like, what kind of fucked in the head person comes up with that on the fly? I mean, this shows you
the kind of person
sickness
that thinks that, all his fans are idiots and they're going to do things like fire guns in the air, knowing that this is typical projection because the fans the Democrats have will do exactly that. The Chicago hood rats will do exactly that.
And you go out
guns in the air.
This has been a problem, things like New Year's and all that, where we go out, we celebrate, the Bulls win the championship. Yeah, you go out, you celebrate, you shoot your guns in the air because, those bullets are never going to hit anybody.
Right. Gravity doesn't exist.
Right, exactly. They don't believe it. They think it's going up you're shooting it up, so it's going to go into space, obviously.
Yeah. It's going to join all the SpaceX.
But
up there.
It's just the insanity that somebody would even say that. I mean, especially in a crowd. I'm not even sure if most of those people that would do that in celebration out on the street would, do that in the middle of a crowd of thousands of people. Maybe they would.
Mm-hmm.
But this, knowing that it was one shot and a kill shot, to be like, oh, well, this could have just been random. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
That just shows you the lack of news coverage on these networks that, I guess they have 24 hours to fill, so you're going to have some idiots on there. But even, as I was saying, most of the people...
The idiots on the news networks don't even compare to the idiots posting about it on Blue Sky.
Well, yeah, or on, I'm sure, a wide variety of videos across platforms, on podcasts across platforms.
Blue Sky actually had to post a warning to their users saying, please refrain from celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk as it may impact your future career. Like, they had to post this to their users because the entire network was just jumping up and down, hooting and hollering at how awesome an event this is. Well, thank God people are finally getting fired for this.
Well, it is a mental disease, and I don't know. Again, I've only seen a handful of these, but it seems that the popular demographic is 20 to 35-year-old women who are making videos celebrating this. And it's like, you don't think this is going to follow you the rest of your fucking life?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Whether it gets you canceled and unemployable, it's just shows what I hate to use a Hillary-ism, but a deplorable fucking human being.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, don't let Hillary spoil the word deplorable from its true meaning.
It's true.
Again, this is projection because we all know how deplorable the Clintons are. How many people have died as a result of the Clintons. How pedophilia was rampant in the circles that the Clintons participated in. How many times Bill had flown to Epstein Island, more than Epstein, apparently.
Well, somebody had to fucking clean the pool.
Deplorable isn't the start of it even.
But it shows. I mean, this is, and you always tell me I hope for rationalism too much. But this is where I hope that people that were teetering on that line with being a leftist are going, do we really want to associate with people that do this?
Yeah, and I've seen a few videos, and who knows if they're real, right? But I've seen a few videos of people claiming to be Democrats and saying, "Yeah, I can't be part of this. I'm not going to vote Democrat again."
Well, if there was,
who knows if they're real,
right? Well, this is also the problem that we have with the internet and social media is that we don't know if anything is real when it comes to those kind of reactions, because it is exactly the kind of psyop that would go out there that would want to continue things. It's kind of like not to totally change the subject into that, but the Russian drones in Poland where Russia's saying, we didn't do it. The United States is saying, could have been a mistake. People that know how these things work are saying, well, there are electronic means that somebody in Ukraine could have used to redirect those drones.
That's true, too. Yeah.
But Poland's going, no, we know it was done intentionally.
Like, on that, I think it's a lot simpler. I think you have either errors made by humans or just shitty quality drone control.
Chinese drones, no good, man.
Yeah. I mean, they're good. They're very good. But sometimes there could be issues with where directions go. And certainly in a war zone where people are fucking with the GPS signals from both sides.
Yeah, weird things happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like, and here's the other thing. Like, what did the drones do? Are we talking like Tomahawk drones, like the U.S. accidentally drops on another country when they were trying to shoot Syria? Or are we talking about like DJI type drones that go bzzz and didn't actually blow anybody up?
I'm not sure the size, and the only place I heard this was on No Agenda yesterday, was that the ones that went into Poland were not armed. So I would also question the...
and that seems strange anyway, because what the hell are they doing with unarmed drones?
Well, that's what they're like, well, we wanted to, and the people that go in the other direction are like, well, maybe Russia was testing the defenses of NATO. It's like, fuck you. Yeah. The defenses are? Lots of planes.
I'm just done with it, dude. I'm done with all of it. We need war. We need war in this country. We need war in Europe. We need a reset.
Well, you certainly need to bring rational thought back to the forefront, and you cannot allow open season on people that are simply disagreeing with you. And Charlie Kirk, again, from what I understand, if you want to talk about divisive, was very low on the divisive train.
Absolutely. There was a cartoon that Ben sent me yesterday. I'll forward it to you as well. That was great, which showed a picture of a dam. And below the dam, you've got liberal Democrats, and the dam is Charlie Kirk. And behind the dam, you have the all the things that the Democrats think Republicans are going to do. Well, they blew up the dam. So anything they get this point on is what they clearly wanted to get.
And I didn't ask any AIs or anything this question because I figured it would put me on a list. But I was trying to remember, when is the last time in the United States that a liberal politician was targeted? Was that Gabby? There was a Democrat senator that was shot. Giffords, was it?
Yeah.
It's like, because otherwise I can't think of any. And I don't even think that was...
I don't think she was shot for political reasons either.
No. As far as I remember, no.
I mean, it's kind of like, what's his face? The guy that was shot as a result of the attempt on Ronald Reagan.
Oh, yeah, Brady.
Yeah, Brady, the guy that whose name forever shall be entwined with the failed Clinton gun ban.
And I don't know why DigiGuru in the troll room multiple times is saying, I would bet that Darren has never watched Kirk's content. We've already discussed that, so shut the fuck up and go away. That's how Adam Curry would do it. But I think rightfully so. It's like, I already talked about this. I wasn't a big fan. Did not watch a lot of it. Don't have time. Don't have time. Would like to follow everybody and everything. Don't have time. Gene has followed him. So he's bringing that information.
It's our diversity of opinion.
Yes. Although we both have the same health issues. So don't worry about anything.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the point, right? And normal, like on many episodes, we're just going, yep. The health issue stuff. And here we, I always kind of expect you to bring the news from that old Fox guy.
Oh, Big Bill O'Reilly?
That guy.
Yeah.
Like, I know you're the guy keeping up with him, so I don't need to.
The bases are all covered.
They're covered. Exactly.
But it did feel like...
I sent you that picture that I was trying to describe. But I think in a lot of ways, it's true. It's that they literally killed the most moderate, the most inoffensive guy and there's plenty of commentators and people that do stuff even in that realm. Like, many would consider Ben Shapiro to be more offensive. Steven
without
Crowder,
a doubt.
Absolutely way more offensive. Crowder is way more argumentative and way less rational than Charlie Kirk.
Well, and takes glee. This is the one question I had. We're going to find out maybe more about this guy, because my first thought was, this guy being college age, and they said that from the beginning. Like, was this the guy that attended a rally and asked a question and got just destroyed? Is there something personal about this?
Mm-hmm. We'll find out, I guess.
Because otherwise it just seems like so insane. As you said, Crowder makes a business out of making the people that he disagrees with feel stupid.
Yeah. Crowder, remember, he started off as a Canadian comedian.
Yes.
And kind of morphed into a male rights comedian, making fun of Amy Schumer a lot. And then started popping up on Fox. And then quit his comedy career and started becoming a political commentator.
Yeah, then Glenn Beck hired him to do a show.
It's literally the story that Glenn Beck did. Glenn Beck was a radio announcer and then ended up getting his own show on the radio, which was mostly a variety show, and then started getting progressively more political over the course of the 80s, late 80s. And in the 90s, ended up getting a job as a political commentator.
Yeah, Glenn Beck is an interesting roadmap because it's what I'm hoping most of the country goes through, which is, we just want to have fun. Glenn liked to drink. He wasn't paying much attention to politics and eventually went, wait, what's fucking going on?
Then he started drawing on the whiteboard.
Yes. And then we can't have this. I love the blackboard and the whiteboard, which was really made you feel like Glenn might snap at any time.
Yeah. That's true. I would agree with that.
But it was very entertaining. I loved watching.
It was a little QAnon, but it was definitely entertaining to watch, and I think a lot of people liked it. And then he lost his hearing.
And that was Rush.
No, I think Glenn did too.
Glenn had hearing issues too, but Rush lost
hearing or eyesight. I remember one of those was a major health concern.
Well, I know. Yeah, he has some issue where he was wearing like Michael Jackson gloves for a while because he was like cold, and we all have health issues. I guess that's the bottom line on that. But listening to the reactions from the Glenn Becks and everybody on Fox, it was all very personal. You could tell this was not a casual relationship of a character that they covered. This was very personal, which is why it's very hard to figure out where this takes us, whether it takes you further into violence, as you just said, a war is needed, or whether this is an event that can help de-escalate some of that hatred, although I don't think it will, because I don't think the people that hated for whatever reason they gave themselves or give themselves to hate somebody like Charlie Kirk, I don't think that is changing because of him getting killed. Again, we're seeing people, and again, who knows what's real and what's not? It's the internet, but it appears that people are going out of their way. Also, something completely different from the pre-internet era, which was if you had some radical bad shit to say, like, hey, I'm glad that guy got killed, you said it in private, maybe to one or two friends. You didn't go to a public forum and post it. It is a sickness, I think. Really, there is something you've said for the longest times. Bring back the insane asylums.
I've said that for a very long time, yeah.
I think you're right, because I think there are a lot of people who, for their own good, need to be locked up because they have proven that they cannot make rational decisions. And when they put, hey, murder's okay on the board, well, then if you are one of those people that are like, murder's okay, if somebody says something I disagree with, I think you should be locked up.
Well, and the people that are radicalizing them absolutely need to lose their jobs. And this is one thing that I've said it on my other podcast yesterday. I'll say it on this one. I will never hire Democrats for the rest of my life ever again. No, that's a disqualifier. If someone is a Democrat, they don't deserve a job. In fact, they need to be fired from their current job. And this is something that thankfully many people are agreeing with and starting to do on X, is finding all these videos, finding where these people work and getting them fired. It is long time that we start reacting to evil in the proper manner, and these people are evil. This is what led to Charlie's death. This was the dam that broke. This was you want to use a different metaphor, the straw that broke the camel's back. You cannot just sit around idly when people are acting like they're insane. You have to put a stop to the insanity. And that stop isn't shooting back at them. That stop is not hiring them, is firing them, is making people that don't deserve to be part of civil society not be a part of civil society.
Yeah, and I don't want them canceled. I want them to be able to post that video. I think that's the best thing we can do is let them show who they are.
Exactly.
And don't remove, for God forbid, don't remove the videos. Once somebody posts something like this, I wish there was a way social media, even if these folks figure, in 5 hours later, I should go take that down. No, it should be permanent.
And look, somebody wants to post another follow-up video saying that, they were an idiot for doing that and they apologize. Okay, that's fine too. Post that. But you don't want to just keep going on. It's like, oh, well, I guess it's open season now on, not just conservatives, but people who challenge ideas. No, fuck that shit. Don't take it. Stop taking it. Politics is not a protected class. You do not have to hire somebody if you don't agree with them politically.
No. That is absolutely it.
It's a choice people make. And frankly, we need to bring back McCarthyism because we have a lot of bad elements out there, and there needs to be a government body whose job it is to root them out. The FBI has failed tremendously in this. Once again, there was zero presence at a massive event like this with known death threats being sent in. There was nothing done to check the roofs. Like after the assassination attempt on Trump, would it not be a standard practice to just fly a drone around? And we've got videos from people's cell phones now. I posted on comments on one of the videos on X that was some clearly Call of Duty bros, gamer dudes who look for this stuff in video games. You'll look for people running across roofs because that's usually the snipers. Then you want to take them out first.
Right. And
Here, they're recording literally from the ground a video with a cell phone and commenting, hey, that dude looks like he's running on the roof and he's wearing all black. I wonder what that's all about. Huh.
Yes. I'm assuming that they had something similar to when Trump goes out, that there is a barrier that if you get, even a moment's notice that you could duck behind, bulletproof, that it is
and I don't know that they were even that prepared for it, but
that's insane.
God,
then
a $500 drone flying in the air before Charlie goes on stage,
and
just checking to make sure there's nobody in any roofs.
Right. I mean, I can't believe how cheap that technology is, that you don't have a couple of people from your personal security staff that are flying drones around to make sure that you don't have a person with a rifle, because that is a majority of the threat. If somebody somehow gets a handgun in and gets close, maybe, but a handgun even from 20, 30 yards away is nowhere near the accuracy of a rifle. And somebody would see, pulling out a gun and getting a shot off in a crowd, not easy to do.
Well, it certainly gives you time to do something, to react. There was zero reaction here because there was no anticipation of this shot. Now, we talked quite a bit on the show, with both gun guys, about just how hard of a shot that is, because some people are like, oh, this was clearly a state-sponsored assassination attempt.
Right, no.
And, I mean, I guess Ukraine could have done it, but it's
Adam Curry floated that it could have been Netanyahu and the Jews.
Yeah, which makes zero sense, because Charlie was rabidly anti-Muslim. He he talked about all the evils of Islam, and he's been to Israel, and he knows Netanyahu. I mean, that's just a retarded theory. Sorry.
I didn't think it was a great one, but then again, nobody knew anything, which I think maybe was part of the point being made. Yeah. And I've heard, as far as how hard of a shot it is, most people were like, with that gun, you don't have to be exactly.
No, this is not a shot somebody who's never shot before would be able to do for sure. However, there was a person that posted that was a gun instructor, and I'm a former gun instructor, firearms instructor. Did that for over a decade. A shot from a prone position, laying in your stomach, with a gun that is basically glued to the ground through your hands, through your arm. It's barely moving. It's not a moving rifle. It's not like standing on your knees and trying to shoot, or standing fully erect and trying to shoot a rifle. Those are way harder shots because you just can't control your muscles unless you've got a lot of experience,
right,
to really just stay that still. But on the ground in that prone position, that's the easy way to shoot. And if I'm teaching somebody that's going to go deer hunting, and they have the capability to do that, like their stand or their wherever they're shooting from, maybe it's a downhill shot so that they're able to actually lay on the ground. That is absolutely the best way to ensure that somebody who is a beginner shooter can actually make that shot. 150 to 200 yards, which was the distance. It looked like about 150 yards to me. Maybe it was up to 200, but either one of those. I mean, on generally when you're sighting in a deer rifle, you're going to sight it in for 200 yards, because that's where between 100 and 200 is where most of your shots are going to take place. Once you get to 300 plus, you really should be a better shooter. But between 1 and 200s is kind of like the easy zone. And I don't think this person was aiming for the neck. They were either aiming for the head and went low, or they were aiming for the torso and went high.
Either way, the end result is the same. But yeah, I would agree. I don't think anybody, unless you are and maybe we'll find out this guy was the best shooter in all of Utah. But I think it was just bad luck. And again, the concept that this was some big deal. Most of the people that I heard speaking about this military was like, well, no, this wasn't that big of a deal. I just did flashbacks to the show 1923 that just wrapped up, where the one big fight out scene, you have Helen Mirren with a similar gun.
Mm-hmm.
And just taking
people out. This is a 100-year-old gun. Absolutely. This is a very old design, yeah.
And they made the point, too, that these, again, shooting a round of like a 22, when there's a lot of other factors where the larger caliber, these rounds are pretty unaffected by what's going on around it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it'll be very interesting to find out the reasoning this kid used, again, because of the fact that he doesn't seem like he's an outcast in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So it's like, what happened to you? I mean, this is at 22, so you're through your 4 years of college, getting right there. The liberal indoctrination machine, which something has to be done right there about the schools.
Liberalism is a mental disorder, and we need to start actually acting like it is.
Well, and I've been talking about this for a long, long time, that these schools were taken over and nobody cared. I mean, are there conservative teachers? Sure. But overall at this point in the United States, now, of course, there's going to be some areas, if you go out in the middle of Utah, maybe they're all conservative teachers, not at the university level.
No.
But getting up to through high school, maybe, but
I think we have a erroneously generalized view of just a super conservative Mormon Utah. I think There are bastions of conservative Mormons in Utah, and there are, just like every other state, plenty of liberals living there as well.
Well, yeah, they probably went to get away from all the gunfire in Chicago.
They moved there from California to avoid paying taxes.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. They just like pretty nature. They could give a rat's ass about their neighbors. In fact, they probably actively dislike their neighbors.
Of course, a lot of the Democrats jumped right to gun control.
Yeah, of course.
Let's ignore the fact that Charlie Kirk himself had talked about it and said, some deaths are worth the price for the freedom of everybody else.
Yep. Exactly.
And that's his legacy. That's what it'll go down as. Like, do you think if he was around, he'd be saying, no, we have to get rid of all guns? Just no.
No.
Because you have to continue to be logical, which most people on either side find it hard to be. And I get it. You want the easy answer. The people that are like, well, if there were no guns, Charlie'd be alive. It's like bullshit.
No. We have evidence of, what about the Ukrainian girl? She wasn't shot.
Right. If somebody wants to kill somebody, they'll find a way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, not to downplay the horrendous event that happened to her, but that was not a premeditated murder the way this was.
No, which again,
she happened to be in the wrong place, and she happened to be white.
And a deranged guy who hears voices and has been saying for a while that the government implanted something into his body, and rather than get that guy help, they kept putting him back on the street. Yeah. No, you're fine. He's like, the government put something in there. The government's controlling my thoughts.
Yeah.
And you didn't think, well, maybe we should get this guy some help.
Yeah.
It doesn't change what he did, but it does certainly make you wonder what could have been if he had gotten some help.
Yeah.
Because it seems like he wanted the help. I mean, there are people that are mentally ill drug addicts that are just like, nope, I'm fine. But this guy was actually telling people there's something wrong, and they did nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's obviously the vast majority of the blame lies with the guy, but you have to take into account the circumstance that she was surrounded by other people on the train.
Yeah, nobody
who did
jumped
nothing
up
or pulled out their cell phone and started recording. That's the extent of participation that these people have in humanity.
And it's a direct opposite of what you and I talked about on the last show, which was, a dude pulled out a gun at the Alaska State Fair, and big burly dude with a beard grabbed him and took it down. I mean, if there was a big burly dude with a beard like that on that train.
Yeah, well, we know what happens to big burly dudes without beards in New York who try to help somebody. They get arrested.
Right.
Called a vigilante.
Like, you can't have that.
Turn their lives upside down and sit in prison.
It was nice that the New York Yankees did have a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk yesterday. The president was at the game.
This too. I don't know why that needs to be pointed out. I mean,
well, because it's New York, which is a ultra. I mean, again, if you want to believe what you hear about New York, the leadership is horrible. There's no question about it. The guy that may win for mayor is basically a commie.
Yeah. Not just a commie, a Muslim commie.
Right. Who does not want to incarcerate anybody for anything.
Yeah.
So
unless they're white.
For me, the fact that this got a good reaction, as good of a reaction as you can have for such things, it shows that not all the people in New York are completely out of their minds yet. Maybe things can be turned around.
Yeah, unlike the UN, or not the UN, it was the European Parliament, where one of the members said, I'm going to use the remainder of my time for a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk. And immediately there was people talking into microphones as though his time has concluded. It's like, dude, he owns that time. He can do whatever he wants with it. It's his 3 minutes. If he wants to spend a minute of not talking and being in silent, it doesn't mean everybody else gets to jump in and start talking. It's his time. And nope. It was like a immediate, like, oh no, we're not going to let you have a minute of silence for this guy. He's clearly Hitler.
Well, that happened in the House too, right? With Boebert, one of them wanted, and all of a sudden
exactly.
People start screaming. Now the one with the EU.
That's what I'm saying. This is the thing that we have to start doing. Is you have to start getting rid of the Democrats' ability to make money. Start firing them. Never hire them again.
The EU, of course, using the excuse that, well, this all has to be put in. If you want to do a tribute, you have to put that in at the beginning of the session. You can't just add that. So we can do that in October for Charlie was the. Now, and I don't know what the rules are and if they've ever been broken, so I'm not going to pretend. But I'm like, what kind of a group of people cannot
when they
on the
had
fly
the
react?
Polish, when they had the Polish ambassador speaking there, they just left. They just left the room. Like it was almost empty in there.
And they don't like really the Polish ambassador
Poland right now.
Because they're taking all those Russian drones?
No, because Poland isn't taking any migrants.
Well, they should. Why are they so racist?
EU laws. You're in the EU. You need to follow EU laws. And Poland's like, fuck that shit. We're sovereign.
The EU was one of the worst ideas of mankind.
Well, I think it's, one of the worst implemented. I think the idea originally was like, we are a bunch of little countries that are getting trampled by the trade with the United States. We need to unite, and then we'll be equivalent to the United States in population, and we'll have more leverage for tariffs. That was the original idea. At least this was what they were selling, right? Who knows in the back rooms what they were truly planning. I half jokingly, but only half jokingly, have always called the EU simply the Fourth Reich. Because Germany was the one that was leading the charge for this.
That sounds like hateful content, Gene.
Both of my grandfathers were killed by Germans.
Well, I can understand why you might be a little pissed off then.
I mean, I've been to Germany. I like German cars. I've had multiple.
German women?
But never had a German woman, no. But I like the way they look, especially the blue-eyed blondes.
You mean the master race?
I'm a fan of that particular look. But actually, okay. I didn't have her, but I did date a German chick that was actually part of the Mercedes-Benz family.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was her name Mercedes?
It was, what was her name? It was Maybach.
Well, you got close.
Well, I mean, yeah. It's, I didn't realize she was part of the family until
you broke up.
Stopped dating. I was a moron. I'm like, she's not the no.
You could have had a brand new German car every year.
No, she was a very, very pretty natural blonde. And I think she was 21.
So right in your wheelhouse. Of course, what were you at the time?
Totally in my wheelhouse. Now, I was like 26 at the time and a moron.
Well, some people might argue that part has never changed, but
some people might for sure. But it was interesting. I just did not realize she was part of the Maybach family.
So close, but yet so far.
Yeah. But I'll have fond memories.
There are Democrats that are speaking out against this kind of stuff, like Stephen A. Smith. So, I mean,
don't know who that is.
He is the black ESPN commentator who has gotten way more political over the last
that would make sense
years.
Why I don't know who he is.
Yes, he's from the sports world. but he's very,
world.
he's a dynamic speaker, and he is one of the few black guys. And I know there's a bunch of black conservatives, but he's one of the few black liberal guys who will actually speak out against the lunacy of the Democrats. And it's like, no, if you think this is all right, then we're done. I mean, you can't have a rational relationship with anybody. There are very few things that I think you could use as a litmus test on whether you can have any kind of relationship with somebody. But I think maybe we finally found one, which is if you celebrate the assassination of somebody for the fact that they disagree with you politically, then I think that is pretty valid.
Yeah. I don't know how anyone can stay in the Democrat Party who thinks that this is a bad thing, because it has obviously been the party line, and we've got tons of clips of Democrats like Nancy Pelosi, there's a lot of Democrats.
Yeah, anti-vaccine.
12 of them in the videos that all are saying that Trump is Hitler, that you can't
Nazis.
give these people an inch, that they're all Nazis, that they're, like, you've got probably 22-year-olds like this person who's now the presumed shooter that have heard for most of their lives.
Oh, yeah, if not all their lives.
That people on the right are Nazis, and if you had a chance to kill baby Hitler, wouldn't you kill baby Hitler?
That's where, I mean, again, it doesn't change anything, but it will be quite interesting if this guy otherwise is not, schizophrenic, is not loaded up with the, one of the SSRIs, that if this is just a otherwise well-adjusted 22-year-old who was living life.
I don't know that there are any 22-year-olds that are not on SSRIs right now.
You're probably correct that there's a high percentage there widely.
And this is something that I think Ben and I disagreed on is I think it's high time that we just ban firearms ownership for anyone that's ever been on an SSRI.
Now, I don't know what the science says about what that does to your brain chemistry.
Well, you may be onto something. Because the ads, the TV commercials, they tell you may promote
suicidal, homicidal.
Suicidal tendencies. And they don't say homicidal, but basically you could become a danger to others. And so, Ben's more of a black and white position and is like, no, it's an absolute right. Everyone's got it. I think that if you are taking substances which affect your brain chemistry in a way where you want to be suicidal, you want to be homicidal, you have that potential, you got to make a choice. Do you take the drug or do you have your guns?
That seems fair. I mean, if you're under the influence, you can't drive a car. So
Right.
If you're under the influence of one of those drugs, all I would say is I don't know, again, how this affects brain chemistry. And if somebody's on SSRIs and then, gets off of them, then I think there may be a time period where you can.
Yeah, it's got to be a time period. It can't be like, well, I took my last pill yesterday. Now give me a gun. I'm going to go and use it on somebody today.
But it's not my fault. I took the drug.
Yeah. But if we look at all of the shooters in like young shooters, so the high school shootings, and some of them obviously are not perpetrated by high school students, but shootings of children. If we look at the history of those, starting with about the ones that happened in the early 2000s and forward, 100% of the shooters were on SSRIs. 100%.
That's a pretty high percentage. Can we get any higher?
Also, the last 6 major shooters were trans. Don't know if this dude is a chick or not, but that's another category of a very good indicator that you should not be in possession of anything dangerous to others.
Yeah, which it can include a lot of things, including cars. And
Yeah.
the interesting thing was, as another offshoot of this, there was what appeared to be a trans, and I'm not even remembering which way, doesn't really matter, that person that had posted a few weeks ago a SoundCloud track,
Right.
which was Charlie Kirk dead at 31.
Right.
And
that
kind of
person definitely deserves to be in the mental asylum.
It does seem to be out of their mind, but I guess looked like the shooter. And of course,
or maybe a time traveler.
Could be. But the internet outed that person just like they outed the wrong person in a much different case, but the Philly Karen baseball thing.
Right.
This idea that the internet, that social media should somehow be allowed to do this, or that there are no penalties. I'm all for freedom of speech, but there are things that you can be sued for. And so this, I wouldn't necessarily put somebody in jail like the UK would. But if somebody outs you as a murderer and it turns out that's not true, well, then all of their money should belong to you. There should be some definite repercussions for that.
Yeah, I understand your point, but I disagree with it.
I guess, again, maybe
it falls within the freedom of speech, in my opinion. Look, people are allowed to say dumb shit. We do that all the time.
But if there are repercussions to somebody's life or livelihood, and it turns out that that's not true.
Well, okay, but if we say that can't be done,
well, that's where we still
penalty for that.
We do with their libel laws,
then
right?
We have to arrest people like Nancy Pelosi and basically everybody in the Democratic Party for the death of Charlie Kirk.
Well, we should.
Okay. Now as long as you're consistent, then I'm on board. And I said this also in the other shows. Like, I think if I was like dictator in charge right now, I would solve two problems at once. I would solve the mental illness problem, and I would solve the communism problem. And the solution is super easy. We create a job works program like the country's never seen, building asylums in Alaska.
That's very close to Russia.
And then taking all the people who have the wrong kind of thinking, the ones that are mentally deranged, and accommodating them in those mental asylums in Alaska, so that the rest of us can get on with our lives.
Well, we do need to bring some kind of sanity back, and that would help.
Yeah.
That would help. I also believe that when you are elected into a government position, that the bar for what you say should be a little bit higher. That there's a big difference in the calling for violence. If you're a idiot college kid standing in the middle of the quad, or if you're posting it on X to your 3 followers, that's very different than the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, standing up and saying, "Oh, these people are Nazis. We have to get in their face. We have to fight back." It's like, well, that sounds very violent.
Or all the TV reporters talking about how it's not really violence, or that violence is appropriate as a response to hate speech.
Right. Oh, that's
like that whole category of hate speech is bullshit to begin with. But on top of that the transition to violence is acceptable.
Yes, and you're seeing this in polls, and we have been seeing this.
Fire them all. Make their lives be on the street begging for money.
You see, this has trended in a dangerous direction over the last 10 years or so, which is the thought that hate speech deserves a violent reaction.
Yeah.
This is definitely a change that is happening. And then you ask yourself, why is this happening? Is it I'm sure it's a combination of very liberal teachers, especially in college, and social media, where people are nonstop spun up, if I can use Adam Curry's term. And I think it's a valid one, which it's very easy. Now, imagine if the right did things in the same way, what the reaction to Charlie Kirk's death would be. I mean, it's really kind of scary when you think about it, because if they were to come out.
Ben said it yesterday, and I hate to keep going back to my other show, but I'm not trying to promote it.
Just two good old boys.
Everyone's aware of it. It's just a repeat of what we talked about, which is that if this was a black person that was shot in Utah, half this country would be burning right now.
Yeah.
Literally burning. All the stores would be looted. And the media and the politicians on the left would all be saying it's justified.
Yes.
Well, I think it's justified that none of these people have a job. Get rid of them all. And thankfully, this is something that's happening on X. Is anyone that was stupid enough to publicly talk about how they're happy that this happened is going to lose their jobs.
But you're right. If we go back to the George Floyd riots. I mean, Kamala Harris was paying to have people bailed out of jail for committing violence. Now,
for actual violence.
Yes.
Not for rhetoric, for violence. Yeah.
And that cop is still in jail, which is questionable considering the coroner said the knee on the neck wasn't what killed him, yet he was convicted. Now, whether you think he contributed enough, if you want to, that's fine. I don't care. But the correlations here, absolutely right. There was a case of a death that people thought was unjust, where you could actually make the argument that, well, he did commit a crime. He took a deadly amount of narcotics. He fought back with the police to the point where he wouldn't just sit in a car.
Yeah.
And you'll try to compare that to a flat-out assassination.
I can't breathe, literally, from before the police were doing anything other than talking to him.
Yes, which is probably because he took a deadly amount of drugs.
Yeah, like all of them.
Now,
not just one.
I will say that perhaps, and I don't know how many times, I'm sure it's the boy that cried wolf syndrome. I don't know how many times somebody's getting arrested.
Yeah.
Where the cops hear something like that, but I would still like a paramedic to be called. I mean, maybe you waste a lot of paramedics' time.
Yeah.
But I would have rather had George Floyd alive and tried for whatever he did. And we will never know the difference the world
dead. Right. But clearly with the paramedic, saying, we did all we could to save him and we couldn't because he overdosed.
Right. And that way you don't have riots that you have politicians
but it's
CNN.
But at the same time, no, because you shouldn't have riots. You shouldn't have people burning and looting, building and torturing restaurants. And incidentally, ones that I've been to in Minneapolis.
You're like, man, where am I going to get my gumshoe shrimp?
Yeah. And the end result of this type of violent behavior that we've seen from the left, and it is absolutely from the left. We do not have violent behavior from the right. It's always from the left because they give a pass to violence if they think it's justified.
Oh, yeah,
well, how do you expect people not to burn a McDonald's down if a black man died?
Right.
Well, how about you just don't burn a McDonald's down, period? Let's start with that. And then we can talk about why did the black man die? Did he die because he was a model student and, a good standing member of society and the cops were assholes, which I'm right there with you. We don't need asshole cops. We need to be suing cops a lot more. We need to get rid of the qualified immunity protection that police have. in most of this country from being sued personally for the crimes that they commit themselves. We need to fix that system, or at least make it better than it currently is. Absolutely. I'm standing right there with you. But you don't go get to torture fucking McDonald's because you're not happy that a black man died.
How about a Burger King? Can we torture Burger King?
I mean, closer. But
you're like, well, they're already flame broiling the meat, so
it's just, well, don't send them to our barbecue places, Jesus. You're going in the wrong direction here.
Like, we use some of that smoke. That looks like good smoke.
You shouldn't excuse violent behavior. And it's the same violent side on both instances. And it's the same violent side that does the school shootings. It's the same violent side that did this, that took the life of a man that was doing no harm to anyone. He was asking questions and replying back with his own answers. Like, this is a guy doing literally the same thing you and I do, except that he was doing it in person and live instead of on the, on a podcast.
Right. And I think a lot of people are going to stand up and carry that torch. It doesn't help Charlie Kirk, but I think this is something that is, and it was been compared to the Kennedys and MLK being shot back in the 60s.
I did that yesterday. I told Ben that
also before our times.
This is the closest time that I've ever really understood what people felt like when Martin Luther King got shot.
Right.
Kennedy's different, but Martin Luther King in a lot of ways was doing the same stuff that Charlie was. He was speaking. He was verbally making a case for people to change their mind about a topic.
Yes, pushing peace and unity.
Yeah, and his piece wasn't the bullshit that the current Democrats pretend that it was. He was very much of a color should make no difference. You should not see color.
Right.
I want my kids and the kids of the kids of former slaves and the kids of former slave owners to grow up together so that when they're adults, they only see each other as people and not as colors. And the Democrat Party, which was the party that fought against blacks for the last 150 years, it was the party that created the Ku Klux Klan.
Yeah, and segregation.
It's the party that voted against the Equal Rights Amendment.
Yeah.
It was the party that tried to prevent blacks from ever gaining citizenship. It's the party that is today rewriting history to pretend that they've been on the side of blacks. Blacks had a higher status in America in the 1950s when there was a family unit and black people were more religious than white people. And then the Democrats voted in welfare, which has been nothing but a way to break apart black families, bring in this current trend of baby mama with multiple dads, and have black children grow up without fathers because they're incarcerated, because the rate of incarceration for black men is huge. So all of these things, the finger points right back at the same party that, thanks to its rhetoric, 2 days ago killed Charlie Kirk.
Well, I've heard this from multiple black dudes, including, I think, Mo Fax, talking about the laws and why so many black families don't have the father. Well, because you get more welfare if the father's not around.
Right.
That this system was created in order to break up the black family. The Planned Parenthood was created to kill more black babies.
Well, that's historically accurate. If you'll go back to Margaret Sanger and her actual writings, removing the worst of scourge of America in the Negro was what she said.
Go back to Woodrow Wilson and the raising of the minimum wage. If you read what their discussions were, wasn't to give the black workers more money and a leg up. Their whole thought process was, well, if we do this, only the more intelligent people, so the non-blacks, according to Woodrow Wilson, would be employable. And this would actually make the black people in America nothing but welfare state recipients, so thus they could be controlled. This is history.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
And it's gotten twisted to the point that it's insane.
And this is the one thing that's always been the case. It's true as much with Ukraine and Israel as it is in the United States. The left is always better at propaganda.
Well, Elon Musk posted that, or maybe he just reposted. I don't remember now, but the comment was the left is the party of murder.
Yeah, they are.
And I thought about that because I know I'm biased. I know I have a political bias. And I was trying to argue that point with myself, and I couldn't. I mean, it's like there's no examples of, well, but here's all these conservative people that burned down cities and looted and killed people and went to
because
violence.
The left excuses it. They excuse bad actions. They excuse murder. They excuse arson. They excuse all the bad actions if you can check some boxes.
Well, then they looked at January 6th and made that the worst thing since the Civil War.
Yeah. That was worse than the Civil War. Are you kidding?
Yeah, according to the lefties.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't. When the comparison came up with the George Floyd riots, the lefties just poo-pooed that. There's no correlation.
Yeah.
Like, of course there's not, because your side is actually evil.
Conservatives need to stop turning the other cheek. You need to start fighting back. And the way you do that is not with violence. The way you do that is with money. Stop giving these people jobs. Somebody has blue hair, don't hire them. Somebody has a nose ring, don't hire them. Don't give a shit what their qualifications are. That person does not deserve to have any job.
Well, I brought up the concept on the last episode or a couple where the Klingons, like the Amish, will make people outcast in their society.
Absolutely.
And that makes sense. That makes perfect sense.
I want to be nice. I don't want to make them outcasts. I want to give them a home. We need to build asylums in Alaska. We need to move those people there for their own safety and the safety of others.
But why Alaska? Why do you? I mean, there's some fine people, I'm sure, that live in Alaska.
You don't want them escaping.
Well, can we not make a deal with Vlad? Can we not ship them over to the Soviet Union?
The unused gulags?
Yeah, can we reopen up the Soviet?
I mean, I'm sure that Russia could be persuaded to provide that facility for much cheaper than what the private prisons charge in America.
Yes, they keep them very safe.
Mm-hmm.
We will send them to Siberia. Don't you worry.
Yeah. It's the argument that, well, you can't do that based on people's opinions. Every opinion's valid, all this bullshit. No. If someone is living next to you and their plan is simply to kill you at some point, you need to take that into account. You need to actually deal with irrational people differently than you deal with rational people. And I'm not saying you need to go out and, do what Hitler did to all the irrational people out there, but you should stop paying for them to do the things they're doing. And in fact, Trump should, with an executive order, ban the support of these people. You shouldn't have guys like Soros dumping money and dropping off bricks on corners before a loot and burn event.
No, this wasn't set up at all. No.
Mm-hmm. Dude, we had those here in Austin when the big protests were happening. Like, there would just be mysterious piles of bricks dropped off on street corners. Huh. Amazing.
Maybe they thought there was some building going on.
On street corners, yes probably.
I mean, they didn't.
There are no brick buildings in Austin, but yes, let's have some bricks dropped off.
Did it say like take a brick, leave a brick? Kind of a thing.
Yeah,
it's a little
brick, exactly.
It's like a little library. Take a book, leave a book.
Crazy. It is a. Yeah, it's just insanity, and we need to stop just doing nothing. We need to start responding.
Well, I think the beauty of the internet, these VR headsets and glasses that you like.
Yeah.
I don't think we're that far from a technology where you could be walking down the street, this woman walking up to you, when she's within 50 feet of you, it's recognized her, it's identified her, and it's playing her TikTok video laughing about Charlie Kirk's death. That's what should happen to these people.
You do. You need to shame them. This is an old concept. You could say it's, biblical, but frankly, I think it's pre-biblical.
Yeah, it's teaching behavior.
You need to start, bring shame, make shame great again.
Yes.
Make shame great again. Bring back shaming people for doing bad things. And the Democrats are supremely guilty and in need of shaming.
To bring back a level of decorum where people can live side by side and have different points of view.
Yeah.
Without one side wanting to commit violence. Because again, I know I am biased. I know a lot of people who fall on the conservative side. I've never once heard from any of them, oh, we need to go kill those liberals. They're Nazis. Yep. They're horrible. They're going to ruin our way of life. Never. But it seems to happen with fair regularity from the left, at least if you're to believe what you see on social media.
Yeah.
And maybe it's all an op. I don't know, everybody on social media, but it appears to come from the top down. Like you said, Nancy Pelosi, one of the big names there.
Yep.
From anti-Maxine, George Schumer, all these guys.
All of them. And there's videos. I'm not going to mention every name, but they're all there in video, effectively encouraging people to commit violence.
Well, especially with the news media.
Yeah.
Especially with the MSNBC, which I thought was not even MSNBC anymore, but it looks like that's still.
I know. I thought they got sold.
They did, so I don't know why they're still. I thought they were like MS New, unless everybody laughed at that and they tried to do a rebranding.
I don't know.
But
I don't know why Microsoft got into that business in the first place.
They thought there was money until they realized there was. Well, TV is gone.
Dead.
TV is absolutely gone. We've talked about that at length between Star Trek episodes and everything else, where there's like the second, I think, final season of 1923, which was another Taylor Sheridan one off the Yellowstone. 7 fucking episodes. I'm like, what? 7?
I know. That's all you get now. That's a season. Congratulations. We're done.
Wow. Why?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Dude, in the UK, it's always been 10 episodes or, they have short seasons, but that's the thing is they've always done multiple seasons per year.
Which is different,
Top
right?
Gear had, I think, 27 seasons in about 13 years.
You're like, how did that happen? The show's been around 5 years. You're on like season 18.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But you're right. The seasons, was it 24 episodes or 26? What used to be a season of American television? Like Love Boat. How long were Love Boat seasons?
I think you would even go up into the 30s for the full year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then 24 was a big deal.
I got to look this up.
24.
This is going to kill me if I don't know.
But now we can't sell advertising because nobody watched his TV.
Love Boat.
But
yeah, how do you binge a 7-hour TV season? Like, that's not even a binge.
No, it's just an afternoon.
Yeah.
You're like, well, I watched a whole season in an afternoon. It's like, well, then it's really not a full season. A binge should take days.
Love Boat had a pilot of 3 episodes.
The Love Boat.
That's the pilot. Had
Soon
3 episodes. You don't even get pilots anymore. Season 1 had 25 episodes. Season 2 had 27. Season 3 had 28. Season 4 had 28. Season 5 had 29. So not quite 30. And then 7 and 8 and 9 were back down to 27.
Set your course for adventure, your mind on a new romance. Everybody.
Let me guess. Your favorite character was the bartender.
Isaac. Hey. Isaac was
Isaac
funny.
Hayes.
Yeah. But Julie, the cruise director, she was always hot, even though she was doing cocaine at the time.
She also had a boy haircut. I never liked that.
Yeah, but she was cute still.
Eh.
I mean, she didn't.
Eh.
I would still rather go longer hair. But, you know, when she was on the show with like Charo, yeah, Gucci. Well, then I'm still going with Julie.
Yeah. Charo was on there.
A lot.
Charo and then
was on a
Gabor was on there.
Yeah.
And they had a lot of famous people from the 70s parading through there.
It's like everybody that was ever on TV or in the movies who wasn't getting work was like, you want to go on Love Boat? Yeah.
Pretty much. And then the captain's uniform was in shorts, which was hilarious.
Captain Stubing, the guy.
I've been on a number of cruise ships. I've never seen a captain in shorts.
And of course, the guy that played the doctor was the one that was the head of Chaos and Get Smart, which was great.
Yes, that's right. The head of Chaos. And also he was on Bernie Miller, right?
I think so. Yeah. Barney Miller.
Yeah, not Bernie. Barney Miller. Yeah. He was one of the dudes on there. I like that actor. He always kind of played a kind of a smart ass straight guy.
Yeah. I play that all the time on the show.
Uh-huh.
Nobody's sure what you're playing yet. Burly guy with a beard.
What is that guy's name? Bernie Capel.
Yeah, the doctor. Yeah. And then Gopher went on to be a senator, right? That was...
Did he?
Yeah, Gopher went into politics.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. California politics, but I mean, I think...
Oh, well, yeah.
I don't know if he was a California, like, senator or House member, or if it was just in California. That I'm not remembering. But there weren't... I mean, I don't remember a lot of hot chicks on the Love Boat. Sadly, because you would think maybe you would, but... that was more for like Knight Rider with Bonnie or the one that replaced her as a poor replacement.
Yeah, I'd be more into the Buck Rogers.
Oh,
chicks.
Aaron Gray, my God.
Yeah.
Meaty. What's up, Buck?
Yeah. You could do that. You could do that voice for sure.
Like she was, I mean, she was extremely hot. And I don't know, was Silver Spoons before or after the Battlestar Galactica? That would make sense.
I believe it was after.
But in Battlestar Galactica, man, the outfits, somebody had to take 3 days just to get her into the outfit.
Oh, they had to pour them in. Yeah.
So they like just dip her in and it just kind of like, that's all. There you go.
Spandex was a brand new material apparently back then.
Uh-huh. And they made full use out of that in Buck Rogers. My
God, it was everyone's spandexed out.
They figured that was the future. We never got to that future, though. What happened?
Yes. And between that and Logan's Run version of the clothes, I was kind of expecting like, well, shit, by the time the 90s were around, everyone's topless.
Right. Nope, didn't happen.
No, they started wearing dirty clothes.
Yeah.
And covering up multiple layers.
And butching up their haircuts and dyeing it blue and purple.
Well, I don't think blue quite came in the 90s. Did it?
Then going in nose rings and multiple earrings and facial tattoos.
There was a bit in some movie where, it wasn't George Carlin. It was another comedian type actor that said, that was like a time traveling thing. It's like, man, this is from the 80s. Like, man, the 90s are going to make the 70s look like the 50s.
And did it?
You remember that quote?
No.
I'll have to look that up. But it wasn't quite totally true, but there's elements of truth in that for sure.
We could use a little more spandex. People might be less pissed off.
Oh, do we need that now with the whole body positivity bullshit?
Well, no, okay. You don't want to.
You don't want to see me in spandex either.
There should be a limit. I mean, it's bad enough you have the Adidas tracksuit. Gene's got the extra stretchy kind, so I mean, it's kind of like spandex.
They're all extra stretchy, man.
They just get in there and go, like, here we go. I can go for a big meal. I can go down to the barbecue hut, have a gay old time.
Yeah.
I mean,
so it's attributed to Dennis Hopper.
Yeah, I could see that.
The 90s are going to make the 60s seem like the 50s. Yeah.
You think he was right?
He used to be an actor. Well, right-ish. I don't think that's quite completely correct, but it's certainly has elements of truth in it.
Oh, that's right. It was Steve Landensberg that was on Barney Miller. He kind of looks like the doctor. Thanks, Ned.
Oh, it's a different actor? You're kidding me.
No, he does have that look, though.
Yeah, definitely has that look. I thought it was the same guy.
We give Bernie Capel credit for every acting job that we don't know who it is. If he was the head of chaos, he could do it.
Yes.
But this is it. We want people to be happier. We don't want the hatred, which it never makes. I mean, again, I know I'm biased, but
quit saying you're biased. What the hell, man?
I mean, I'm sorry. I don't teach people to be violent if somebody has a political view different than theirs, where that appears to be what the folks on the left do. Before I forget, I do want to thank Mark Hodra, of course, for coming in with his $2.50 a show. At least somebody's doing it. I'm sorry, I said Mark Hodra. Scott Gorman. Mark's on another show that comes in every show. So thank you, Scott. Scott Gorman, $2.50, and then there were a couple of boosts from Weirdo, who boosted the Cosby AI. Yeah, that's the one that teaches you how to do all bad things. And he says, Gray Zone sounds like a modern version of America's Army. You had to treat different wounds the correct way. Gun mechanics function like actual guns. It was fun if you're into realism over action, or both.
I'm 180 hours into it now.
Oh, man. Wow.
It is a very, very good military sim. It's like the first version of America's Army before they kind of softened it up.
Now, do you blame, this will be interesting because you love the video games. Do you blame the violent nature of video games at all for a more violent society?
No.
You don't think that has any effect whatsoever? Now, what about kids that are on the internet from like 5 years old that are seeing things like Charlie Kirk getting hit in the neck and falling off his chair, blood spurting everywhere?
I think that presents a great opportunity for parents to talk about good and evil.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. Because it's very scary that the desensitization of this kind of stuff.
The only thing that video games contribute here, in my opinion, is a better understanding of ballistics.
Like, here's how it works. If I want to shoot something, if I want to blow something up, we understand the physics around it.
Well, I mean, like, my example is literally the video from the two guys from the ground shooting on the phone and seeing a guy running wearing black across the roof. Their thought wasn't, boy, I wonder what somebody forgot up there that they need to run and get it. Their immediate thought is like, I've seen this before. This is a standard thing in video games. This looks like a sniper. This looks like somebody running to their destination. Why else are they wearing black other than to minimize their visibility? And they just called it out. Like, I don't even have to hear them say anything about video games. Oh yeah, Call of Duty bros.
Now, this is kind of like with Trump and Butler, where people are like, man, we saw him. We were yelling for the police for like minutes.
Same thing. Apparently, there were 2 reports of to the FBI of this person that nothing happened with.
And nobody immediately got on the ear to the security standing next to Charlie Kirk going, yeah, get out of there.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's insane.
It is insane because, look, I would hope that as other people like Ben Shapiro keep doing these types of events, which he did the video yesterday talking about how, this is not going to change his plans. He's going to continue doing what he's doing. But one, I hope they have freaking little drones fly around and check all the roofs before he comes on stage or during his thing. And then 2, I think that there's got to be a change. Like, if the Democratic Party wants to still exist 4 years from now, they have to start distancing themselves from these violent perpetrators. And they haven't. So it really is the party of death.
Because they're afraid they're going to lose votes, which, how sad is that?
That's all they have left at this point.
How sad is that?
Any middle of the roaders have realized this party is moving in the wrong direction.
Well, this is what the Democrats have been told now for a few years, that they are losing touch.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't understand how you double down on this. I mean, they went full bore against Donald Trump in the last election, calling him a racist because of the border situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yet his numbers with Hispanics went up.
Yeah.
Well, if they don't think he's a racist for the border situation, why do you?
Yeah.
You know, that's the insanity of it. And he definitely, I think, a large part due to what Charlie Kirk did in campaigning for him, captured a much bigger part of the younger crowd, which is such a good sign.
Yeah.
You know, and when we hear, there was a poll, I mean, I think I heard about it on that old guy Bill O'Reilly's show, talking about the amount of kids in college who admitted to the pollsters that they lied to their teacher and pretended to be liberal in order to get better grades.
Mm-hmm.
Which also just screams of, you want to talk about Nazism, you know, and thought control and everything else. It's like, well, when you know that your teachers, use that in air quotes, your professors are so politically bankrupt that you have to pretend to agree with them in order to get through the day, to get through the class. I don't know. What does that say? That's not the party of tolerance. That's for damn sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's not the party that's like, hey, maybe we're doing something wrong. Let's have a discussion and figure out what's best for everybody.
Yeah.
Which is what dialogue should lead to. Not getting shot because how dare you have a difference of opinion? And these people that report that, oh, you know, Charlie Kirk spread hate speech. It's like, well, where is your proof? Would love to hear the audio clips. Would love to see the video of him espousing hate speech.
Mm-hmm.
Because these motherfuckers think that hate speech is, well, I don't agree with you. That's all. I don't agree with you. Things like, I think trans, especially early surgeries and putting kids on drugs to stop puberty, is dangerous. And I think it does them harm. Oh my God, what a horrible thing to say. I mean, it's just, it is almost too hard to comprehend, which we get full circle to the back to the point where James Wood said, you know, you want a war, you got it. Like, I don't know if you can really back away from this unless, as you just said, the Democrat leadership somehow comes to their senses and says, wait a minute, you know what? This has gone way too far. And the bullshit that we've been feeding you was to get votes. But you know they're never going to accept any responsibility whatsoever. And I think there is a sickness in here because I think they believe they're actually right. I have a feeling what you're going to find from this 22-year-old kid is that he believed and still believes that he did something just. And that is the bigger problem of a nation of people growing up that are mentally ill. I don't know if there's enough room to build the facilities that we would need in Alaska or elsewhere for the amount of people that appear to be completely out of their mind. But again, I still am trying to figure out that number. You say Democrats, I think that's being a little bit too all-encompassing because I don't think all Democrats are going down this same radicalized path, but they are enabling it. So I don't know where that line is or how many people are actually just so batshit crazy that they would if without the outside world around, if you get the news that somebody you didn't like was assassinated and you celebrate that, then you and yourself need to have a conversation. But then you go and put that out into the world, that message that you're happy about it. You go out and make a video or a social media post, however you do it. I just don't know what kind of intelligence, mentality, lack of reading the world? What, how, do you really think this is going to make your life better? Do you really think that your side is so big that there are so many people who would glorify this kind of thing, that this is going to bring you glory, that you went out and were like, I like that he got killed?
Mm-hmm.
I just can't figure out the mentality. I really can't.
It is insanity. It is a derangement. I mean, again, we say this in every podcast, and we don't provide medical advice, but non-medically, the diagnosis is insanity.
It's hard to argue that.
Yeah. And I sent you a link to, I think the last link I sent you was a video that says no more pretending.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of this, which is also why it's like, I don't know as far as even covering this. I mean, I think we have had a good dialogue about it, but I'm tired too of everybody coming out with very hollow words of, I'm done with the left. I'm going to do. It's like, well, only say that if you're going to do whatever you say you're going to do.
Yeah. Yeah. No, every interview I do moving forward for any company I'm with is going to have a political test.
But you got to hide it. You can't make it very obvious, right?
You don't need to hide it. It's not a protected class. You can absolutely ask what people's political views are and then make your hiring decision based on that.
Well, if that's legal. That's a beautiful thing, because it would be.
It is absolutely legal. It is not a protected class. It's a decision. It's a choice that you make what your politics are. Now, there may be restrictions on the government doing that. So for jobs like your wife is in, that she works for the government, they may not be able to do that. You're a private company. You're in a position of hiring. You get to ask political questions if you want. Most people haven't done that in the past, simply because, politics is a topic that there's some strong opinions about. And if you don't care about politics, if you just want somebody who's, going to do the job, don't ask about politics. But I'm done with that. I'm asking politics at this point.
And if you ask if somebody
giving a dime to liberals at this point.
And if somebody says, I don't pay attention to politics, then is that a winning answer, or is that even worse?
Probably. Yeah, because I know that's a realistic answer. There are plenty of people I've met. They're like, "Oh, what's that? Like, do you not watch the news? Do you not? No, not really.
I'm on TikTok. Well, no, you get news there too now, so it's weird.
I mean,
I'm watching porn all day, literally porn.
Yes.
Exactly. Waking up.
That's somebody that's getting hired right there.
Jeez, like I like this guy. See, Brooklyn just sent in his resume to be the HR guy at your next company.
Oh, perfect.
So could be a nice little good time to be had there. I would love to see that, though. It's like, are you a Republican or Democrat? Democrat. Okay. But that's all I needed to hear. Thanks you.
Thanks for applying.
Just come back again if you get a lobotomy or something. I don't know.
Well, dude, for a fact that liberals are not hiring white people. Like they will exclude resumes from white people. There's even been sketch videos, comedies done on this, where they're sitting there trying to identify by name who is likely white.
So if your name is like Lawanda, then you're okay.
Yeah, of course, in the comedy sketch, like the Lawanda would have been a very white chick. And then, the Bob John Taylor would have been a black dude or something.
Right. Because you can't judge a book by its cover.
Right. But it's, look, political opinions are made by the decision of the person. It's not an immutable quality. It's not something that is a protected class. You can look this up yourself.
And people that want to placate those with extreme views at some point, you got to come for them too.
Yeah. Joseph McCarthy was right.
No, Hillary Clinton was right. It takes a village, but the village can't be batshit crazy. The village has to be like, well, it's for the good of all. Killing people does not work.
Well, no, assassinating people for having different views, or in this case, not even different views, but literally for having conversations. The thing that Charlie Kirk did, his actual job is talking to people, having conversations.
One of the interesting questions that Adam Curry brought up in No Agenda yesterday was...
Yeah, which I didn't listen to yet. So
okay, well, the question, this is good because you would have an interesting perspective on this. Was Charlie Kirk more hated for political reasons or religious reasons?
I definitely would say political reasons. I mean, he's obviously religious. He's a Christian. But he's a born again Christian like Adam. But he didn't use feelings. He didn't use belief words. His debate style was very much rational.
Used logic.
Yeah, which does not require religion.
No.
And religion, frankly, tends to be viewed as a losing tactic when it comes to arguments of factual nature. So, no, I think Charlie was very much a proponent of, if you follow the logic, you will arrive at the same conclusion that I did.
And if you are insane,
Now, having said that, there I saw a video that showed in fact, I sent you a link to it. It's called Sneeko Horrified at Muslim Response to Charlie Kirk's Death. Sneeko is a recent convert to Islam and a very popular YouTuber who basically said, prayers and to my prayers with Charlie Kirk. Sneeko is not a conservative. He's obviously not a, I don't know if he's a Democrat either. I mean, he's probably one of those apolitical types, but he did become a Muslim recently. And you would think, well, Muslim, that's way more conservative. But the Muslim response is absolutely religious. It's like, no, you cannot pray for Charlie Kirk because he did not believe in God, in Allah. He's going to hell, like all the unbelievers are. He was a kafir. They're like, the Muslims did not like Charlie Kirk for his religion, because they see all Christians and all Jews as being equally bad because they're not Muslim.
A little divisive there.
Islam?
Yes.
Are you kidding?
Yes.
It's literally the most militaristic of all popular religions.
Now, I don't know the person's name. I just saw this again in scrolling today. I was surprised to see there was a popular trans activist, trans person, that also came out and just demonized the left and said very nice things about Charlie Kirk, which, again, gives me a little bit of hope that there's a possibility.
I'm curious to see what Bill Maher has to say about him, because he was on Bill Maher's show just like a month ago.
Again, I don't know anybody that seems to think he was an irrational, hate-filled individual.
Except for all the Instagrammers and stuff.
Well, the Instagrammers are nuts. And I just, again, maybe if you wanted to put together a hit list from the left side, how does he even make
He was on the Ukrainian
list?
Hit list, though. We know that. On the official Ukrainian death squad list.
They didn't like Charlie Kirk because he was against the
pro-Russia.
Well, that'll do it too.
He's one of those Russian paid assets, just like Trump.
Maybe because he questioned exactly what's going on here.
Because he happens to know the history of the overthrow of the government conducted by the United States in that country. Yeah.
Well, and understanding. I said it a few weeks ago when a hospital or something got hit in Ukraine with drones. I'm like, well, how do you know Ukraine didn't do it themselves? Because the original, again, the first thing you get is Zelensky. Oh, Russia bad. See, they're still doing this. We can't have a ceasefire.
Yeah.
Then these drones going into Poland. Oh, no, Poland says we're 100% sure it was intentional. It's like,
yeah.
You don't fucking know anything. This is the problem with the world. People pretend
right.
they know, but you don't know. I mean, you and I right now believe this guy most likely killed Charlie Kirk because of his political stance and that he had been radicalized.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in a couple of days, we may hear the kid was on SSRIs and thought he was on the planet Neptune.
Yeah, same thing. Doesn't make any difference.
I mean, it does, and it doesn't. Nope. The end result is the same, but there's a difference in whether there was hatred or whether there was insanity. And I think that makes a difference. The end result is the same, but how you deal with it is a little bit different.
I think the pointing finger is still Democrats no matter what. If this kid was mentally deranged in a lot of different respects, it was the left that got him there. If this kid was perfectly normal but thought that killing another human was the correct form of discourse, the correct disagreement is, okay, well, I don't like what he's saying, I'm going to kill him. The left is to blame for that. I mean, the finger of blame does not shift here. It's very obvious where it came from.
And if we have the devices,
details may be different, but the end result was the same, and the blame is the same.
Well, as long as we have his devices, which I would guess we would, you're going to get a glimpse into this as far as what kind of media he consumed. Was he on, they mentioned Discord already.
Yeah, and apparently they found, along with the gun, some very...
Antifa, I think they said it was like Antifa and trans... ideologies and
pro-trans ideology shit. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the interesting thing would be like,
maybe
why?
He's going to say all white people need to die. Who knows? But it's still the left. He was not a conservative.
Yes. No, I don't. I would be very surprised if he was a conservative but okay, let's just say, what if he was very conservative and gone down some rabbit hole on some weird website that was saying Charlie Kirk is the devil trying to take down the conservative movement?
Then that's a liberal website, obviously.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, they all are. The media is evil. Social media is evil because people don't know how to have that disconnect.
Yeah.
And this is going back to the earliest days of Grumpy Old Ben's, where we talked about the nonstop connection to the rest of the world through both mainstream media and the internet and social media, and had the conversation of, once people have X amount of information, it's too much. This was when people had, 10,000 Facebook friends, and it's like, you know what? You could really, the human being can have like 100 friendships or so. I mean, once you get beyond that, things start getting strange. And we were never meant to care about a school shooting. If we go back 100 years and there was a school shooting in Iowa, well, we weren't going to hear about it here for weeks or months if you heard about it at all. Everything is amplified. And the outrage is immediate, and everybody thinks they have the answer. But the human condition was never meant to be fed with the kind of information nonstop. Like, I think you said earlier, it's like, go outside, get off the internet, just relax, don't be paying attention to the outside world. And I think people need to do that a little bit every now and then. I saw a video the other day, so you probably did on YouTube as well. I think it was some Harvard professor that's like, because of the phones, people have lost the ability to be bored because they never have to be bored.
True. That's true.
And he's like, when you're bored, he's like, that's when those big existential questions come in. And because you are keeping your mind busy with frivolous things, it is actually doing damage, which is a very interesting concept to think about. It's been way too long since I did like a digital detox where it's like, I'm just going to go for a week, not even look.
Yeah. I kind of turned off X for about a week, 3 weeks ago. I think I even mentioned it on the show that, like, I don't have any topics because I'm off X this week. But I didn't, turn off all internet. But really, my majority of my connection to the news because I don't watch any mainstream. It's through X. So turning off X is kind of turning off the news and the politics. Hard to do that right now, of course.
Well, yeah, because there's information you got to know, man.
Well, it's not even the knowing. It's just, trying to provide support to the people that agree with me and the people that don't.
What about those that disagree with you?
Yeah.
Should show up and listen to this show. We have you would never even hire me to begin with. So, I mean, there's that.
Oh, you're too tall. Obviously not.
You can't trust anybody over 5'7". That's Gene's very strict.
No. 6'2". You can't trust anybody over 6'2".
If I don't fit on your recumbent bike, then we can't be friends. I get it.
Oh, the recumbent bike is made for tall people.
So we can still see in traffic?
Unlike a normal bike.
Yeah, that may be true. But I highly recommend everybody check this show out, Unrelenting, more than once in your life. Did you like the AI Bemrose ad? I thought that was hilarious. And he'll never hear it because he's not on X.
Yep. It was good.
75 people listening right now, a high of 85. So not bad. But this has been Unrelenting.